Hey guys, this is Fungo. So after 6 months of waiting, we finally got the new DLC to The Evil Within called The Assignment featuring Kidman. Right off the bat, I have to say, this is very similar to Resident Evil 4 and Separate Ways with Ada Wong. There are so many similarities between Resident Evil 4 and The Evil Within, it's just uncanny. It's like Shinji Mikami wanted to make Resident Evil 4 the way he originally wanted to, and here's the end result. Not much is known about the Kidman character. I mean, you just automatically assume she's the bad guy. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is interesting to see Kidman's point of view within the STEM system. And it is interesting to see what her demons are, I guess, and why she's doing what she's doing and who she's working for. Even if you hated The Evil Within, I think you should do yourself a favor and pick up the DLC because it's nothing like the main game. So if you hated the combat, the story, whatever, you want to pick up this DLC, assuming you still have a copy of the game lying around somewhere. The reason I say that is because this is more of a widely accepted survival horror. It's more of the Outlast style or Amnesia style where there isn't much combat and it's more avoiding things and being stealthy. There's no difficulty level per se, you really just are thrown in, and that's because of the gameplay. You don't really need a difficulty for this. And there's some new musical tracks, so when you get caught, you'll know, and it's tense. It is tense. It's very scary. There's two new monsters in this, one being, I don't want to spoil anything, but very, very creepy, definitely representing themes of sex and death, very similar to something Masahiro Ito would make. It's got the long, sexy legs and the blood-stained, tattered cloth covering the top of its body. It's very, very creepy, and especially when it talks, it gives me chills. The second monster is kind of interesting in design, but it's a very common monster we see in horror games very frequently. It's an exploding monster. It's like the Boomer in Left 4 Dead, or the Flood in the Halo, or Dead Space monsters, I forget what they're called. But it does have a protruding rib cage which it can use to grab you, and it's pretty scary when you get grabbed by one of those because you know it's game over. If you picked up the art book for The Evil Within, these two new monsters would have been spoiled anyway. There's plenty of checkpoints and it has a pretty cool save system. You pretty much sit down on a nice red seat and you pet a cat. I assume it has something to do with who she's working for. I don't know, there's a lot of subtle symbolism in this. There's a lot of symbolism regarding light. There's also puzzles regarding light. You can open doors or open new pathways using light. You can also use light to solve puzzles. Then after you beat the game, you're basically looking at a new difficulty. I like to call it the blackout difficulty. I don't know what the Japanese name is, but it's very scary. It basically shrouds the entire environment in darkness, so you pretty much rely on your flashlight to see anything. It makes you walk at a slower pace and examine the environment a little bit more thoroughly, so I think even if this was the original difficulty the game was on, I think it would actually be pretty eerie and atmospheric. I would enjoy it. Your first time through, it'll be about 3 hours, but if you want to play it again, I would say the total would be about 5 to 6 hours long for the DLC, and that's not bad for a $10 DLC. So like I said, I mean, even if you didn't like the combat, the story, and the original The Evil Within, and I don't know why you wouldn't, I'd say pick up this DLC. It's worth it. It's very fun. It's very atmospheric and scary, and the new monsters are definitely something. I had a lot of fun with it. It's definitely worth the $10. I got the season pass for $20, so I'm definitely looking forward to the second DLC, which is going to also feature Kidman, as I hear, and then the third DLC, which is going to be very different because you're going to play as the Keeper, which is the box head monster. That's going to be very cool, so I can't wait. Well, I hope this review pretty much answered all your questions of whether or not you should buy the DLC, so enjoy and have a great day.